on, everybody? It's your boy Gsluke here for our round 2 prize picks targets for this week's US Open. Today's picks went 2-2-1, so not our best. That makes it 2 slates in a row we've gone 2-2-1, which for a 5-leg card isn't going to do us any favors, but nonetheless, the modeling has been close, and now that we've seen this golf course through round 1, we have a much better idea of what to expect from the playing conditions. I expect round 2 to be a lot more favorable for us. So in this video, going to cover exactly what we saw from round 1, some of the research I'm putting into my process, and then afterwards, going to hop into my top 5 props here for Friday's round to get you prepared for putting together all of your slips. So a lot to talk about, a lot to get into here for tomorrow. Let's get right on into it. Hopping into some research, you can see the scoring average today was well over par. In fact, right around 2 3/4 strokes over par. And regardless of when you teed off, you were in those conditions. So in the morning, played to right around 2.5 strokes over par. And the afternoon wave, closer to 3 strokes. And the majority of that difference was due to the wind, where you can see on Thursday, there were slightly lower winds in the AM wave than the PM wave. And that's really why you saw that half a stroke difference. The wind gusts were similar throughout the day, but those sustained winds in the afternoon were what were causing problems. It added some distance on some of those longer par 4s, and even though there were a handful of holes playing downwind into firm and fast greens is almost just as difficult as playing into the wind with firm and fast greens. So on Friday, we have a similar wind pattern for the entire day as to what we saw in the afternoon. So in the afternoon, it was closer to that 15 to 16 mile an hour sustained range. We're going to see a similar number right around that 14 to 15 mile an hour range for the entire day. So rather than seeing, a 0.5 shot difference between the morning and the afternoon, I'd expect that to get a lot closer to neutral. In fact, the morning might be slightly easier, but maybe just a 0.1 stroke difference with how receptive the greens are likely to be. So with conditions that are far from optimal, right? Pretty decent wind out there. I'm expecting conditions to be pretty rough once again. All right, now for the top props for tomorrow. The first category I have my eye on is going to be the birdie or better matchup, where we're taking Dustin Johnson over Tommy Fleetwood. Today, DJ looked like the DJ of old, gaining with the ball striking, making plenty of putts, and in general, I think a lot of those PGA Tour guys a little bit worried about Live Golf DJ. I mean, looked like the guy who can go out there, win any given major, has the distance we're looking for, all of the power necessary to get out of that gnarly rough. And if we're going to match him up against Fleetwood, who really struggled today, was only able to make one birdie, going to be somebody I'm confident getting to. And it's not like Fleetwood can't turn it around, go out there and start to putt. But even if he does, I see him making 2, maybe 3 birdies at the very most. Whereas DJ, if he just replicates what he was able to do today, he's going to go out there and comfortably hit the over. So I like the floor on this matchup. Just DJ, a world-class player, playing against somebody who's in a little bit of a rut of themselves. So I liked Fleetwood this week. I had high hopes for him, but after round 1, this is an easy matchup to go ahead and pick on. Next up, we're going over to strokes, where we're going to take Brooks Koepka under 73 strokes, and frankly, this is by far my favorite prop on the slate. It seems a little bit disrespectful to put Brooks at 73. Even though he shot that number today, he was absolutely dog shit. The worst version of Brooks that we're going to see, missing a ton of greens, and though the driver was there, he was missing a lot of makeable putts and missing greens from 150 yards, and he has no business missing, and in the past, you would have never seen that from him. The real thing that has me a little bit optimistic about BK was his last 4 to 5 holes. He started to drive the ball beautifully, which I suppose was already consistent there in this game, but he started to hit greens, right? So he was not only hitting these fairways, when he was putting himself in prime position, he finally started to take advantage. So even though he finished at +3, really, it was a lot better round than that reflects. So tomorrow, I expect a huge bounce back, playing in the morning wave, which will be slightly advantageous over the PM wave. I have him projected for closer to 71.5 strokes rather than the 73 number we have him at. So of course, 73 would be a push, and I have him very comfortably inside that. 72 would be a hit, and of course, 71 or lower going to be gravy there. So a prop that I like, in fact, my favorite prop on the board. Next up, we're going over to fairways, where we're going to take Hideki Matsuyama at over 8. And frankly, the only reason he was priced low was the uncertainty, right? Last time out, got DQ'd, but even before the DQ, wasn't playing his best golf at Memorial. So we kind of had to worry about what version of Hideki was going to show up this week. And based on his last 5 or 6 holes, it looks like the Hideki of old that's going to hit a ton of fairways, a ton of greens, and at major championship venues, like what we have this week for the Country Club, is going to shine, because with that precision, is going to separate himself from the field. But for this category specifically, just needs to miss less than 5 fairways. If he misses 5, going to hit 9 on the day, that would be a hit for us. But even if he misses 6 out of 18, which for Hideki would be a well below average day, that's a push at 8 fairways. So I love the number here. At 8.5, it would be a different equation, but at just 8, somebody that has a lot of push potential, but based on the ball striking that we expect from Hideki, I have him projected for 9.2 fairways. So above the number that we need him to get to, making it a prop that I'm more than confident getting to. But having that push potential in our back pocket is always nice as well. So another reason that I'm willing to get to Hideki here for tomorrow. Next up, we have Jordan Spieth. So Jordan Spieth at 7.5 fairways, and he'll be teeing off in the afternoon, much like Hideki. That is slightly disadvantageous, but when it comes to fairways, we don't have to worry about it as much. It's a lot less prone to wind. Off the tee play is a lot more just about, the strike that you put on the ball. If it's super windy, it can make fairways a little bit harder to hit, but it's those approach shots that you're hitting 120, 150 feet into the air at times that get buffeted a lot more by that wind, right? Your driver is going out there with so much velocity that even if you have that wind, it's not really gonna make you miss all that many fairways. That's why I'm willing to get to these PM guys. So I like Jordan Spieth there at 7.5 fairways. He's got to be a little bit more conservative at this course. He's dealing with a little bit of a stomach bug right now, but considering that, he'll probably try to rein it in tomorrow, not do anything crazy, maybe lay up an extra time or 2 off the tee. That's going to play into him hitting some extra fairways. So I'm hoping that he takes the smart approach. For day 1, he was a little bit reckless out there, perhaps because of the illness, just thought he had nothing to lose, but shot 2 over par. He's within the cut line as of right now, certainly in contention to take home this tournament if he has a solid round 2. So somebody I have projected for closer to 8.7 fairways, so about half a fairway less than Hideki Matsuyama. But the kicker here is that 8 fairways isn't a push. That is a hit for us, right? So, we don't get a push here at 7 fairways, which I wish we had in our back pocket, but at the same time, still somebody I have projected for well over his number there. And now lastly, the last prop we're looking at is going to be for hole number 8, which is the shortest par 5 on the golf course, right around 560 yards, pretty much reachable for the entire field if you hit the fairway. And the huge X factor here for Louis Oosthuizen is the fact that he shot +8 today. He looked horrible, couldn't hit a fairway for his life. The greens were not that much easier to find either, and when he got on the greens, the putting wasn't there. Just atrocious across the board. Of course, one of the guys that's dealing with the Live Golf head case, getting asked a ton of questions about it, getting booed by the crowds. I think a lot of that has to do with his struggles here. So given the fact that he shot +8 in day 1, didn't make that many birdies to begin with, on a hole that had a 47% birdie rate, what's to think that he's going to go out there and be the one to birdie tomorrow, right? More people than not are going to make a par or worse, let alone somebody that shot +8 in round 1, right? So a relatively straightforward fade. But outside of that, I'd be taking the under on pretty much everyone else on the board. The only other over I'd consider in this category would probably be Bryson DeChambeau, just due to the wrist injury. But because this is an easy hole and you have a lot of elite level players like a BK, Hatton, Finau, Lowry that are up on the board, another category I'd consider taking some unders on. Alrighty, that's all I've got for the round 2 picks. Before you hop on out of here, let me know in the comments what your favorite prop on the board is. Feel free to go ahead and let me know why as well. For me, it's going to be that Brooks Koepka prop at 73.5. I think it's just slightly disrespectful to the 4-time major champion at this point, Brooks Koepka, somebody who shot 73 today without his best stuff. So I'm expecting a bounce back, something in that 70 to maybe 71 range. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts down below. As per usual, we'll have videos out for rounds 3 and 4. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and do so you don't miss those videos when they drop. Also, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. It helps me out with growing the channel here, helps show support here for all the videos that I'm doing. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys stopping by, watching the video. Hopefully we can take home, a 5 of 5 here for the second round. And best of luck with your slips.